Well, actually, the first time when I met Jen, it was actually during computer lab, and I didn't really know who she was at first.
And when we went down to the library, I looked and then there was no chairs for me.
All I remember seeing was this girl just hovering around my chair all of a sudden.
I think he describes it as hovering, but what I remember clearly was that he was already getting up, so I figured his chair was being freed.
And then next thing I know, I go to stand up to leave, and she jumps on my chair, just like she was waiting for me to leave.
He just gave me a dirty look and left.
And I just kept remembering, thinking back and going, what was going on? Who is this girl? After that, I didn't see much of her for a little while. When I found out there was some kind of intramural badminton happening on Friday nights. So I decided, you know what, I love badminton, show up and see what games I can pick up.
The one Friday I see this guy come down and sit on the bench. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, that guy looks familiar.
And then it struck me, it was the girl who was in the computer lab, and all of a sudden she's inviting me to play badminton. And then officially we got introduced, where this friendship started at the beginning.
Peter and I, we were somewhat seeing each other, like not really dating, but we would go and hang out. And then one day we made plans to go to Square One and potentially watch a movie.
It was during August, I believe, when we had that great big blackout. And while we were in Square One, that's when the blackout happened. So we decided to take a walk. You know, we were friends at the time. We walked across the street to a nice park called Korea Park. And it was at the park there where we pretty much discussed a little bit further where we are in terms of our relationship.
I remember we were sitting and talking for a long time. And I do remember him kissing me on the cheek.
And that's when we first realized that we were boyfriend and girlfriend at that time. Jen is the type of person that can take any difficult situation and make people laugh at it.
I think you would say I laugh too much, and that I'm a very loving person, very honest.
She knows how to make the awkward, difficult situations and make them lighthearted and joyful. I know that no matter what we do, we're going to be doing it together.
He's just the best person you ever meet. Like, he's the friendliest person you ever meet, sweetest person. He's very sincere, very honest, and he's such a generous person, like time, money, like efforts, and he's just so caring.
I always give as much as I can to both my family, my wife to be Jen, and also to my friends. So it's very difficult to narrow it down to just one pet peeve, so I won't. I have two pet peeves about Jen. One is her tardiness. When she promises to be on time and she's always late, that's one thing that just drives me crazy.
He might call it tardiness, but I call it just irrational. He considers 5 minutes late like a devastation, and it really ruins his day for some reason. I don't know why. He just cares about time so much.
The other thing that is a pet peeve of mine with Jen is that no matter where we're going, if there's music playing, she's expecting me to dance. So at the time where I was seriously thinking about proposing, Jen and I were on the brinks of finishing university, and we've been dating at that time for about 6-7 years. And Jen definitely was making me aware that we had been dating for so long and that I haven't proposed yet. As a matter of fact, I don't know how it actually happened, but Jen was able to divulge the fact that I had already bought the ring.
I basically read it off of Peter and then would bug him by asking him questions about it. And so, while being each other's best friends, you know, it's kind of hard to keep secrets from each other. So,
thinking of ways to propose at that time was nearly impossible. The initial plans that we had set out was to go to the CN Tower, and I was going to propose to her on the glass bottom floor.
But then the night before, I just figured, no, you know what? We should go see a show.
And then when she comes to pick me up in the morning, she had told me that the plans had completely changed. So at that point, I kind of threw a hissy fit. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me where we're going.
I said I wanted it to be a surprise. So he sat down, he turned on the TV, he said, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me.
When we got there, I'm like, Jen, we're a little early. Why don't we go take a walk in the park? And I know Jen always, when we were going somewhere, she would look into my pant pockets to see if there was a box bulging out of my pocket.
And I remember him acting a bit strange, like he was just thinking quietly to himself. So I didn't think anything of it, but he was acting strange, so I had to look at his pockets and they looked empty, so I didn't think anything further.
And then I remember, I'm like, this is it, this is where it's gonna happen.
All of a sudden, I remember him pulling out a ring out of his pocket on his shirt, and I was just shocked first that I felt like duped. Like he brought it out of his pocket, and I was thinking, wow, I just pictured he would bring a box around. Like I didn't think of another type of a proposal without a box.
Which I always found a little weird, because who would really bring the ring in a box? But anyway.
And then when I saw it, I just couldn't think of anything else about how just beautiful the ring was. I mean, obviously, I was so happy that Peter was proposing, and you know, he's committing himself to me.
I hate to say I didn't, but I started crying a little bit, and I finally got it on my knees and I asked her, and that's how we got engaged. So one of the things I'm looking forward to once Jen and I are married is merging two great families into one large, happy, great family. It's definitely one of the positives that I'm looking forward to after we're married.